Hey everybody, Laura with Jot and Tittle Vintage Typewriters, and we're going to take a look at an Electra 12, not 120, an Electra 12 from the 1960s. Today it types so well, and it's in a really nice beige color, or a tan, whatever you want to say. I really like the tone down. But anyway, this is more of like a review tutorial, and I am used to the 120s. We rarely get a 12. And the difference is so minor. Basically, from what I can tell, the only difference is the 120 has interchangeable keys, two interchangeable keys on it, and I'll point that out here in the tutorial video. But the 120 is a really fantastic typewriter for, it's one of those what I call the everyday typewriter. So, you're gonna just, I don't know, casual use, heavy use, whatever you want. Kids, fantastic for kids. It's great for fast typists. A little bit heavier, so even though it's technically a portable, I don't recommend it for portable because it's just heavy to carry around. You're not going to want to take it with you to the coffee shop by any means. This is something that's going to probably sit in a writing room or a craft room or something like that and just be available for you. You're not going to want to get it out every time you want to use it, because if that's the case, you'll never use it because it's heavy and cumbersome. So it's something that you want to keep out. But when you're ready to write on a letter, or you want to work on a manuscript or something like that, this is great just to have out. And like I said, it's really good for kids too. And they're wonderful, a workhorse. They can handle a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. Okay, so I've already done a little bit of typing on this one. I really like this. Like I said, if you're just looking for a no-nonsense typewriter and you just want to get the work done, this is really good for that. It's got the extra wide carriage, the 12-inch carriage. The differences that I mentioned before are from the 120. We have a lot of 120s. Is that on the 120s, these keys are interchangeable. You can get like extra symbols or something, and they're not on this one. But it's an excellent typer. I am not sure how many different colors it comes in, but this is an original color, and it's just a nice basic typewriter. So if you've got one, go ahead and grab it out. And even if you've got like an Electra 120 and you're wanting to know how to use it, this works the very same way. Like I said, the differences are extremely minor, just these two keys here. But so if you've got a 120, get it out because it'll operate the same way. So it is electric. It does need to be plugged in. It has the manual return and the 12-inch carriage, which is great if you have larger paper or you want to type landscape versus portrait. It just gives you a little more flexibility with that. So when crafters want to get a typewriter, this is what I recommend, an electric that has a 12-inch carriage, because you never know. Like I think I've shared before, once I wanted to type on a paper bag, and so I had ripped up a grocery sack, and it was just a big chunk, and I rolled it in there and typed on it. And so that's what these are really good for. Okay, let's load some paper. So I guess I should back up. This is your carriage right here, and you release the carriage by one of these levers, or you can do both, and you just go back and forth like that, and you can hear that bell. So the bell is to tell you you're at your right margin, and to set your margins, you press them down and out. So, and your carriage will move as far as you have your margins set. So if you want your margins really wide like that, or maybe you're going to type on a postcard and you want to bring them in, then that's how you do that. Okay, then you have your paper holder, which I really like using those. And again, your return handle, you have a lever on the right side. This is to release your paper. And then you have a lever on the left side with a 1, 2, and 3. That has to do with your line spacing when you hit your return handle. So when you hit your return handle, not only does it move a line or 2 or 3 lines, but you also need to give it a little bit of oomph because it's going to push your carriage back to the beginning of the line. So some people are afraid to put any pressure on it, so they only do this. So let's say you're at the end of your line and they just do this. You got to push, give it a little bit of effort there. Okay. So to load your paper, it goes right behind here. And you go through like this. And then you turn it on. Your power switch is right here. I always give my electrics a couple of seconds to kind of get everything moving and waking up. And to set your tabs, so this is your tab area, and when you press this, it advances to the tab. And a lot of times when you get a vintage typewriter, somebody has gone through and set like a gazillion tabs, and it's really annoying. So to clear all of those, you just hold the clear down and then release your carriage. I go back and forth, and then you release the clear, and all of them should be clear. By the way, please don't put any cups or any breakables in this vicinity because that carriage may knock them over. Okay, and then to set a tab, just go where you want it. Let's say I'm going to put it in the middle here if you use them. When I'm just typing regularly, I don't use tabs, but we're going to set one here for you. And then you just hit set, and now you have a tab. So that's how you set your tabs if you want one. Before I type, I'm going to move the carriage all the way over to the left here, and then to open this top area, you just gently pull forward. Now, I'm not going to lift up the typewriter, but if you look on the left side here, you'll see the motor turning, and that is where your motor is. This is your ribbon, and this is your typing basket. The ribbon just pops in and out very easily like this, and when you put it in, black is on top, red is on bottom. Make sure it's threaded through that ribbon vibrator there like that. I'll give you a look here. Okay, so, and then when you load the ribbon, make sure you thread it through this little guide wire here. There's one here, and I lifted it up so you could see it. Usually there's like a notch in this metal piece, and sometimes it's on the top, sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it's in the back. In this case, it's in the back in the middle, so you'll have to kind of thread the ribbon behind it and then go through the middle and then kind of jimmy it down in there. Also, the ribbon goes over the top, around the back, and underneath. Same with this side, over the top, around the back, and underneath. When you get to the end of the spool, let's see, which way is it going? Let me turn this back on. Sometimes these electrics won't turn. There we go. Either way, when you get to the end of the spool, it is not the end of the ink. You just reverse the direction of it right here, the ribbon reversal. And so you'll just keep going back and forth till you use up all the ink in your ribbon. Some ribbons come with a grommet that will auto reverse, but not all of them have that. So that's why it's good to know the manual reverse in case it doesn't auto reverse or you don't have a grommet on your ribbon. So one way to know when it's time to reverse your ribbon is you'll notice the ribbon gets really tight, or when you're typing, it starts looking faded. Don't panic. And sometimes typewriters will just stop typing altogether. Again, don't panic. Check a couple of things. First, when your typewriter isn't operating like it normally does, reverse the direction of your ribbon, and then also make sure that your color selector, which is right here, is firmly on red or black. If it's in the middle, it's a stencil setting. It's not going to type properly because it doesn't, the ribbon doesn't come up and engage with the type bar. So it's just, the type bar is just hitting the paper without the ribbon. And that's what that stencil setting does. So make sure it's firmly on one of those colors. Okay, so I had to stop, so I can't remember. I think I showed you how to set the tabs already. Ribbon reversal, we've done the color selector, power selector. the power switch. The copy set just determines how hard your type bars, these things right here, it just determines how hard they hit the paper. And if you want it to imprint a little bit darker or lighter, you just adjust it here. Personally, I never see a difference, but maybe you will. And then you've got your shift lock for your all caps, and also your all caps and your symbols. Without the lock, it's the numbers and the lowercase. We have your backspace. Backspace does not erase. There's no delete button on a typewriter, so when you make a mistake, and you will, you just X through that. You can type over it if you want, or you can line through it, or you can just X out the whole word and retype it. It is up to you. So let me type a quick sentence. Okay, so this one is really good font on this one. But if you made a mistake, like I made a mistake there, you just backspace, and I could like type over it, but it might not look good. So it doesn't really look good. So I'm going to go back, and I still made a mistake anyway, and I'm just going to X over it and retype my word and then keep going. And that is just part of using a typewriter. Also on this Electra 12, you can hold this down and that power spaces. And then also there are 3 keys that have an auto repeat. So if you hold them down, they'll auto repeat, and that's the dash, the X, and the period. So, and as they get older and get used a lot, sometimes those auto repeats are either intermittent or they don't work. That's okay. You can still use your typewriter. And so that is the basics of what the Electra 12 is from the 1960s. Again, the main difference between a 12 and a 120 are these keys right here. Instead of, you can switch them out, and they'll have different colors, either red or black. And what that is there's a cap on it. You can pull the cap off, and then there's a way to change out the typewriter, the type bar head on the inside, but that's for a 120, not for the 12. So it's an excellent, excellent machine. I really love these electric typewriters from Smith Corona. They're what I call a really perfect starter typewriter. They're usually a little bit less money, and they're very easy to use. They're hard working. They can take a lot. So if you've got kids and you're not sure how they're going to handle, and you're afraid, that they're going to mistreat something, this is a good machine to train them on. Not that it's not breakable, it certainly is, and you want to teach your kids well, but it can handle a lot. And it's good to just for kids to get used to what a typewriter is, and then you can invest in maybe something that's a little bit nicer. All right, thanks for watching. You all have a great day.